Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum. Today's topic of our discussion is agents that affect bone mineral homeostasis. So first of all, you can see here there are two types of regulators of bone mineral homeostasis. It is hormonal and non-hormonal. The hormonal regulators are parathyroid hormone, vitamin D, calcitonin, estrogen, and glucocorticoids. While non-hormonal regulators of bone mineral homeostasis are bisphosphonates, fluoride, and calcimimetics. Now we are going to discuss them with first of all is the parathyroid hormone. As you know from your knowledge of physiology, parathyroid hormone is an AG4 amino acid peptide, and what are its functions? It usually increases the serum calcium and lowers the serum phosphate. And on membrane level, it acts on membrane G protein coupled receptors to increase the cyclic adenosine monophosphate in bone and renal tubular cells. In the kidney, parathyroid hormone inhibits calcium excretion. So it promotes phosphate excretion and stimulates the production of active vitamin D metabolites. I mean to say that by acting on the kidney, it inhibits the calcium excretion and promotes phosphate excretion. In this way, it increases the serum calcium and lowers the serum phosphate. By acting on the bone, parathyroid hormone promotes bone turnover by increasing the activity of both osteoclasts and osteoblasts. The osteoclastic activity is not a direct effect of parathyroid hormone. Instead, it results from parathyroid hormone stimulation of osteoblast formation of a ligand which is called rank ligand. And what is this rank ligand? It is basically a member of TNF cytokine family. You have read all these families. So this rank ligand is basically a member of tumor necrotic factor cytokine family. And what it does, it stimulates the activity of mature osteoclast. Moreover, it causes differentiation of the osteoclast precursors. If there is continuous high concentration as occurs in hyperparathyroidism, what will be the net effect? The net effect will be elevated parathyroid hormone is increased bone resorption as well as hypercalcemia and hyperphosphatemia. But low intermittent doses of parathyroid hormone produce a net increase in bone formation. That it is opposite to that of higher doses. Be clear that this is low intermittent dose, and as I have told you earlier, the higher dose. These two effects are opposite to each other. Low intermittent doses of parathyroid hormone produce a net increase in bone formation. This is the basis of the use of teriparatide. What is teriparatide? Teriparatide basically is a recombinant parathyroid hormone, and it is used for parenteral treatment of osteoporosis. And it is also used, has been approved for hypoparathyroidism. The synthesis and secretion of parathyroid hormone is primarily regulated by the serum concentration of free ionized calcium. If there is a drop in free ionized calcium, it will stimulate the parathyroid hormone release. Be clear that it is very important. What is regulating the parathyroid hormone secretion? So basically, it is a free ionized calcium. If there is a drop in the free ionized calcium, it will stimulate the parathyroid hormone release. And what will it do, this parathyroid hormone? It will inhibit the calcium excretion from the kidney. So it will raise the calcium level of blood. Active metabolites of vitamin D play a secondary role in regulating the parathyroid hormone secretion. How? By inhibiting the parathyroid hormone synthesis. This is the two ways by which the parathyroid hormone secretion is regulated in our body. This is the diagrammatic picture. You can see here the active metabolites of vitamin D by acting on the gut causes the increased absorption of calcium and phosphate. Similarly, by acting on the bone, they also increase the bone resorption. Bone increase the absorption of calcium from both gut and bone, whereas the parathyroid hormone increases the resorption from the bone. Vitamin D metabolites and parathyroid hormone both reduce urinary excretion of calcium. In this way, parathyroid hormone raises the level of calcium in our body. The next regulator of bone mineral homeostasis is vitamin D. Vitamin D, as you know, is a fat soluble vitamin. It can be synthesized in the skin. In your skin, there is presence of 7-dehydrocholesterol. When there is presence of ultraviolet light in our body, in the presence of sunlight, and also absorbed from the diet in the natural form, which is cholecalciferol, or in the plant form like vitamin D2, ergocalciferol. That is, in plant, vitamin D2 is present, that is called ergocalciferol, and that is absorbed in the from the diet in the natural form, that is vitamin D3, and it is called cholecalciferol. Active metabolites are formed in the liver and the kidney. In the liver, there is 25 hydroxy vitamin D, and in the kidney, there is 125 dihydroxy vitamin D, or calcitriol plus other metabolites. The renal synthesis of active vitamin D metabolite is stimulated by parathyroid hormone. I have already told you. Regulation of parathyroid hormone takes place. Synthesis of 125 dihydroxy vitamin D in the kidney is inhibited by phosphate. Moreover, fibroblast growth factor 23 and vitamin D metabolites. This is the diagrammatic picture which explains how our body regulates vitamin D3, phosphate and calcium excretion. You can see here 125 vitamin D have a positive effect on the gut, and it causes calcium absorption from the gut. Moreover, it also causes calcium absorption from the bone. Parathyroid hormone also have positive effect on calcium because it causes increase in calcium in the blood level, while calcitonin have negative effect on the bone and on calcium in the blood. Similarly, extracellular calcium and 125 dihydroxy vitamin D have a negative effect on thyroid in the because they inhibit the release of parathyroid hormone from parathyroids. Okay, now you can see here in the kidney. In the kidney, parathyroid hormone have positive effect, while this growth factor have negative effect. Similarly, you can see the effect of vitamin D in the bone formation. You can see calcitonin inhibits resorption from the bone, whereas parathyroid hormone stimulates bone resorption. Extracellular calcium and 125 dihydroxy vitamin D inhibit parathyroid hormone production. In this picture, I will going to take laser pointer. In this picture, that is the B part of this picture, both parathyroid hormone and vitamin D regulate bone formation and resorption. This is accomplished by their activation of precursor differentiation and stimulation of osteoblast production by the signaling factors including rank ligand, and as well as macrophage colony stimulating factor. The action of vitamin D metabolite is mediated by activation of one or possibly a family of nuclear receptors that regulate gene expression. The active vitamin D metabolites cause a net increase in serum concentration of calcium and phosphate by increasing intestinal absorption and bone resorption and decreasing the renal excretion. Parathyroid hormone causes increase in calcium level, but it causes excretion of phosphate. But vitamin D causes both increase in calcium and phosphate. This is the difference between parathyroid hormone and vitamin D. Because their net effect in the gastrointestinal tract and bone is greater than their net effect in the kidney, they also increase urinary calcium. Active vitamin D metabolites are required for normal mineralization of the bone and their deficiencies cause rickets in the growing children and adolescents, and they can cause osteomalacia in the adults. Now comes the uses of vitamin D. Vitamin D metabolites and their synthetic derivatives are used to treat deficiency states. It may be including nutritional deficiency, or it may be due to intestinal osteodystrophy, or maybe chronic kidney or liver disease. It may be in hypoparathyroidism or nephrotic syndrome. In all these conditions, there is a deficiency state, so we can use vitamin D to treat these deficiency states. Moreover, in combination with calcium supplementation, they are used to prevent and treat osteoporosis in older women and men. Topical formulation are used in psoriasis. The two forms of vitamin D, that is cholecalciferol and ergocalciferol, are available as oral supplements and are commonly added to the dairy products and other foods. In the patients with conditions that impair vitamin D activation, like in chronic kidney disease or liver disease or hyperparathyroidism, an active form of vitamin D such as calcitriol is required. And in the treatment of secondary hyperparathyroidism associated with chronic kidney disease, this calcitriol reduces the parathyroid hormone levels and it corrects the hypocalcemia and also improves the bone disease. 1-alpha hydroxy vitamin D2 is a prodrug that is converted in our liver to 125 dihydroxy vitamin D, whereas 19-nor 125 dihydroxy vitamin D and the calcipotriene are analogs of calcitriol. They all cause less hypercalcemia in patients with normal renal function and less hypercalciuria than calcitriol. So it is a benefit of these analogs. Oral and parenteral doxorubicin and other oral paricalcitol are approved for the treatment of secondary hyperparathyroidism in patients with chronic kidney disease. Calcipotriol is approved for topical treatment of psoriasis. These and other analogs are being investigated for use in various malignancies and inflammatory disorders. Toxicity can occur if we are using chronically overdose of vitamin D, because it is a fat soluble vitamin D. It accumulates in the fat. So the possible toxicity is the hypercalcemia, hyperphosphatemia and hypercalciuria. These should be kept in mind when we are using these vitamin D preparations in chronically. The next factor that regulates the bone mineral homeostasis is the fibroblast growth factor 23. It is basically secreted by the osteocytes in the bone, and it inhibits the 125 vitamin D production and phosphate reabsorption in the kidney. It is not used as a drug. It is only produced in our body by the osteocyte, and what it does, it inhibits the 125 vitamin D production and phosphate reabsorption in the kidney. So it takes part in the regulation of bone mineral homeostasis. Thank you very much. Next of the part we will